Face reality, people. Movies are dead. Games are dead. Narrative? Dead.
Media is nothing but neural trigger response and viral conditioning.
Wait, what are you two talking about?
Right.
As
Nick Saban said.
as
Nick Saban sees what?
the NIL deals
Okay.
and college players being paid as like diminishing, not diminishing, but diminishing the type of players he's being surrounded by, and the quality of players. Like he quit. He essentially quit Alabama because the players no longer viewed him as a god, or as I would like to say, a slave master who holds their futures in his hands. Literally, like holds their entire livelihood for the rest of their lives in his hands. If they are talented and lucky enough to play for this man.
Oh yeah. Now, when I look at like, because me personally, for a long time, I was like, yo, these guys should get paid. They're generating so much fucking money, and it's not even the schools paying them now, right?
He made like 9 million a year. He made like 9 million a year, but
Yeah.
besides other money, we don't even know he touched.
But the guy I looked at as like, bro, you operate like a slave master, bro. It's fucking Nick Saban. He's bringing in like in my mind, I was like looking at the linemen, right? These dudes that got to do like grunt work and shit like that. Like they're getting injured. Let's be honest, CTE is a real thing. They're probably eating shit in the fucking trenches. And these guys, like, if you're not up to par, you get fucking replaced. And
Well, not only that. Okay, no. So not only that. So this asshole too. He did another story where he doesn't believe A, they should be paid. B, they should be able to unionize, or C, get health insurance. And then, imagine how these offensive linemen, bro. If their heads aren't scrambled, they got one or two fake knees, for sure.
Yeah.
By the time they're done playing.
Yes.
Because like you're literally getting ran into every play. If you're not by your own players, by other players, like falling on top of you. You're like you're like in a passing block stance, and someone literally takes your feet from under you that they fall.
Yep.
It's just the nature of the game. Like most of the time, it's your own fucking running back running into you, getting tackled by somebody else.
Yeah.
Or tripping or whatever.
These are not NFL linemen like the sizes that they're but these are still big boys on the offensive line, on the defensive line, and they are car crashing every play basically.
Yes, literally.
So and add the linebackers in there and the running backs and the fullbacks and all that shit in there too. And when you can just be easily disposed of for another fucking litter of kids, usually like probably predominantly not the greatest financial backgrounds from these kids. Come on.
Even they're better looked after than the running back, bro. You tell your ACL you're worthless. You're not. You have no value to the team. Like these guys play on tears in their knees. The linemen, these fuckers can't because they're literally. It's everything about them is explosiveness.
Yeah. And imagine if Nick Saban was like personally like off camera to his own team. Like let's say he was a cunt, like a shitty fucking like an asshole coach, right?
Yeah.
And you're a player and you're like, this guy's trash, bro. I want to leave. That's so hard to do, man. Like you might lose a year eligibility, all these things. Back in the day, I'm saying, not now, but back in the day.
Now the field is leveled.
A little more freedom.
Yeah, a lot more freedom actually. You don't lose eligibility anymore if you do want to transfer.
Yep.
It's literally like the norm now. That's how Deion Sanders getting all these play. He's paying for them. He's like, oh, come here, I got you. And they go over like he's literally paying for players. But it's like as opposed to like trying not to pay you. I don't have a problem with him paying for anybody.
Yeah.
At least these because you don't know how long your show. It's like the top 10% make it If that, probably less than that. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
There's like 1,000 schools or like 1,500 schools.
So yeah.
So, anyways, so yeah, we got this video, and then we have the Marcus Cousins talking to Kevin Garnett about NIL deals. So those are the two videos. That's a short. That's real. This is like a 10 to 15-minute video. This
Okay.
section.
All right, let's play some of this video. Here we go.
Because no matter what media job he takes, he will never have the general genuflecting that he got on campus at Alabama, where he could part the Red Sea almost literally. I don't know why he chose to talk about this more yesterday, but he confirmed all of the speculation that many of us, including me, had about why he left, almost as a protest to where college sports is going. And I thought that that was the reason. And I thought when he was talking to the media and released sort of almost like a statement of why he left, I thought that I was right until I read carefully what he said. And there's so much misunderstanding going on out there that I want to clarify it for you. He was despondent about his own team. It was not about the state of college football. If you read between the lines, he says, I thought we could have had a hell of a team next year, but maybe 70 or 80% of the players you talk to, all they want to know is, am I going to play? Should I transfer? And how much are you going to pay me?
As
And
they
Nick
kind of
Saban
should.
was looking at those players and saying, no one's ever asked me those questions before. What are you talking about? We're about the team. You're on Alabama, my friend. You're playing for Nick Saban.
What do you think about that quick little statement there? With the Nick Saban statement where he's like stunned that these kids are now asking for for freedom.
They're
Kind
now
of.
asking for fair compensation.
It's like, what, boy?
So the only thing I'll say is, and it's like, oh, too bad. This is what I'm about to say. I'm already telling you my answer to it. It's too bad. But the only thing I'll say is, there is a certain like degree of like relinquishing or like putting your faith in what the coach is selling. And like what I mean is like, so he named 3 things. Am I gonna play? Should I transfer? And how much are you gonna pay me? I don't have any problem with the third one. The other 2, it's almost like it's an overreaction to what's come before it. Where it's like, oh, these players had no freedom. They used to get fucked. They used to get abused. Like, oh, you can't get no free meals. But this guy outside the stadium is selling merchandise with your name on it, and he's probably making $60,000 a weekend, a home game.
Yeah.
Off your name, and you're not getting anything. You can't send your mom any money. You probably came here broke, in most instances, or from a very tight budget as far as what's going on in your home. You got all these things to worry about.
Yeah.
And you had to walk on eggshells the entire time you're there, and it's very uncomfortable.
Yes.
But at the same time, I do think there's something to be said about, like I said, you buying into the system, and okay, maybe you don't start this year, maybe start the next year. Like there's some validity to what Nick Saban in that regard.
Yeah.
But it's like, aside from that, and like I said, it's an overreaction to what's coming forward. These poor kids have been fucked over. They get there's no benefits, nothing. They're just put in a really precarious situation if they don't succeed, if they don't graduate, if they don't make it to the NFL or both. It's just it's tough,
Yes.
and it's been tough the whole existence of college sports.
This
And now,
will be abuse. I have to guess. If I had to guess, it will be abused to some degree by
Yes,
it'll be exploited by
of
whatever
course.
athletes. And no, I'm saying like the ability to like move around, like, hey coach, if you don't bend to my whims, I'm gonna move on to
Yes.
university of this or that or whatever and move on from this shit.
Unfortunately, it's you're not really in a position to get any tears from me because I'll give
Yeah.
you a very good anecdote. Chip Kelly was the coach of Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
He knew he was going to the Philadelphia Eagles. He
Yes.
was still recruiting players and telling them, "Hey, come over here. We're gonna have a great season." No, knowing damn well he wasn't gonna coach them. And back then there was the old rules where, hey, I came here to play for Chip Kelly because he had a really good program and he fit what I wanted to do as a player. And now he just like upended my entire life and he went to the NFL and I could lose a year of eligibility
Yep.
to go where I want to go because I don't want to play here. Like
Oh
literally, like
yes.
so he and that's and what's the other one? Well, so the coach of what's his name? The coach of UConn, Dan Hurley. Dan Hurley's been doing this for the last 10 years, school hopping from one school to the other, to the other, to the other. So it's just to show you that like there's selective criticism for when players do it, and none when these coaches like very little. Like I've seen some people say like, "Oh, that's messed up," but it's still like swept under the rug, and I see like there's a way bigger deal being made because obviously there's the new phenomenon aspect. But I feel like in general, like it's more frowned upon that these kids want to go from place to place.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. It could be more tilted in the other direction, but I've seen a lot of like pearl clutching in that regard.
Oh, the media sense of it, I think, will lean more towards Saban than player freedom. I think maybe more like athletes or former athletes will lean towards the player. Like, hell yeah,
And there's
man!
a
You're like,
lot more in the space. So
yes,
yeah, and we'll talk about that later.
yeah. Let's continue. But there's a context that needs to be understood about all of this,
Yes.
100%. But let's hear him out more. His name's David Samson, right? This
Yeah.
guy. Okay.
Davidson. Yeah.
All right. Here we go.
He felt as though that Alabama wasn't working anymore because the goals for these players was about money. Shocking.
He
He
didn't
claims that
bring.
Alabama had all the great success because in previous years, Alabama was all about Nick, all about doing what's best for Nick, best for the program. No one cared about their individual selves. Now with NIL, all of a
Yeah.
sudden they get to care about themselves as though he had a full team of selfless players.
If I hear Saban bring up some like, it's all about the team and the glory of the team. It's about the A on your uniform or on your helmet, like right. And it does like that glory fucking speech. Meanwhile, like maybe he means that. Maybe not. I doubt it. But either way, it's like this is not fair to these guys that you're running around like replaceable mules, bro.
Yeah.
It's like so like you can't do that. But whatever. I guess he's kind of saying that too, this guy. But here we go.
Yeah. He will.
Makes me smile because the odds of Alabama having a full team of selfless players throughout the years that they were good. Don't forget last year, Nick made it all the way to the semis in the CFP and then lost to Michigan in overtime. Michigan went on to win the championship and Harbaugh left. So two of the final four teams, their coaches left, at least two, Harbaugh and Saban. Coca, that's Q for, did the Washington coach leave too? The Washington coach took over Alabama. So I guess three of the teams
So
left.
you see right
But
there,
I'm talking
just
about leaving college.
Good. Good.
and John Harbaugh left for if I'm not mistaken, he got suspended throughout the season for like a recruiting scandal.
In with
In
Michigan, right?
Yeah.
I heard something weird happened with him, but I didn't look into it personally. You want to add a little to
Oh
that?
no,
'Cause
my bad. It
I don't really
was
know as much about it.
no, my bad. No, my bad. It had nothing to do with it. Had he pulled the Houston Astros as part of the ongoing allegations surrounding a sign stealing operation run by a former analyst. Yeah, so
Oh,
he pulled the.
Astros,
But he had a really
Patriots.
good team. He didn't even have to do that. Yeah, he had a really good team. Like he had it's him and Georgia. Those are the best teams in the country. Anyways. But yeah, it's just to show you right there the free movement of these coaches to move around, leave, come back, whatever.
Yeah.
But somehow that's okay. And they run the whole program, but the kids leaving or the kids saying, "Hey, if I don't get what I need out of this place," which I can understand that may be a bit unfair.
Mm-hmm.
That small aspect, as far as like not wanting to commit, to a certain extent, would be unfair if it wasn't for how, like you just said, how they've been treated like mules historically throughout the history of collegiate sports.
Yes.
So
Let's.
that's the context. Like it's like yeah, it's almost like that's too bad. If you don't like how things are now, that's too bad because you've literally made probably like $100 million doing this shit, replacing kids, all that. Yelling at a poor kid who probably didn't even fucking isn't even being like nutritioned well.
Yeah. Well, it's like imagine. Let's say the league was more ruthless, right? Or the college coaches and shit. Guess what? These coaches have more impact on rules that these kids are going to have to go through than obviously the kids themselves. As far as the rules, like let's say it was ruthless, like okay, we're going to add more. You can go helmet to helmet with someone. It's hypothetical and obviously
Yeah, yeah,
stretch to the nth of the imagination. But I'm saying like if they
yeah.
were able to add that, it would be the coaches doing that. The players have no fucking say in any of that. I'm saying how like
No,
little things can impact these players, but they get no sense of security or compensation or anything with that. They're kind of fucked. And
no
now
say.
that's kind of changing. Yes, that's the thing. Like you said about unions. Will they do a union through what? Through like again about advertisements.
Well, I don't know
What
how to
business
work.
are they in that to where they get a union? Right, an Amazon worker is an Amazon worker. Thus, he can unionize against Amazon. What
I
are these
think there was
guys
just
in union
no. There
against?
was a certain ruling that I think there's a ruling that passed or is about to pass where it's gonna be ruled that yeah they are in fact employees of the university.
Real? Oh, okay. Oh,
But I think they're
that's some
going.
crazy implications.
It's already started. There's certain colleges where they got like certain colleges have gotten that ruling in their certain player bodies have gotten that ruling in their favor at certain colleges. They're just not an overarching
Okay.
rule yet.
Okay.
And this guy right here, he believes it's all like free market capitalism shit. Like, oh no, we don't need unions. Just if you're good enough to get an endorsement from an NIL, then by all means. But
Mm-hmm.
no endorsement, no unionization.
No way we walk away with like a minimum wage for
Yeah,
NCAA football
yeah.
players.
Meanwhile, like you're paying even if you're not an athlete or you didn't get a scholarship, you walked on or something. You're paying
Yeah.
insurmountable amounts of money, or you're putting yourself in debt. And these colleges always get their money. You can't default on that shit.
Yeah.
And they kind of do free, like funny money, like where they build up these universities. They buy property. It's an investment. It's also a way to like justify all the money they get because it's certainly not going to teachers or anything like that.
Yeah.
They're not really giving back to the community.
Teachers. Can you
Yeah,
imagine?
it's like what a novel concept.
Your English
Like,
professor pulls up in a Bentley. It's like, yeah, go blue.
no, but
Skirt.
Nick Saban, and so that's kind of funny too. Like it's almost like an unspoken thing. It's an it's unwritten rule of I think Saban could probably buy 20 Bentleys, but he won't buy any. He'll come in like a Lincoln or something to make it seem like he's modest. Like, dude, you're making $10 million a year, bro. You're making $15 million. Come on, bro. Like, who you fucking kidding here? I'm a humble man. Like, bro, who the fuck you fucking think is falling for this shit?
He's on a podium. We sacrificed everything. He has his little slick back hair, fucking
Yeah, I
nice
like going.
clean
This guy's
blazer.
like, yeah. He's like, I like going to the, what is it, to the Gulf of Mexico or something, go fishing, take the kids out, take all the new recruits out fishing and shit. Like, yeah, you probably have a $20 million boat or some shit, bro. Take the whole squad with you, the whole fucking unit. Give me a fucking break, dude.
Uh,
And he's the same guy like to skirt a fucking NCAA violation. He wouldn't give a player a fucking dime. He
he's
let
like,
him start.
you get a chance to be on the number one team every year because I'm able to get these players over and over and over again and replenish my fucking. When my mules get tired, I get to replace them, or if my mules
Yeah.
move on, I get to replace them, and I get to just be number one in the country every single fucking year. And you know what? I don't like that. This might change. I don't like that.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
Well, now they
Wow.
want things. He's like, now they want things. I
All
gotta
right.
make them happy.
All right, let's continue.
Totally. Just Harbaugh and Saban, right? So 2 of 4, but 3 of 4 will have coaching changes. Interesting. Well, next year they'll be 14, so it won't matter. Or 12 or 8. I can't even remember how many playoff teams there will be next year because they keep changing. Although maybe in 25 it's 12 or up to 14, 16, 18. But I want to get back to Saban. Do you think for one hot second that the Alabama players are different today than they were yesterday? I was thinking about what he was trying to sell me. Nick Saban can sell. It's what he does. When he drops his helicopter on a high school field, you are buying into what it is to be with Nick Saban.
Imagine that.
Coincidentally, he happened to be in Alabama, but it doesn't matter. Wherever he'd be coaching, he's selling himself. The way he used to recruit, it used to be enough. What a blow to an ego when you used to be the reason why people would do X or Y. And then all of a sudden you realize that, hey, when money's involved, it's no longer about me. And it seems like Nick Saban feels badly for himself. And he wanted to be very clear about why he made the move he did. And I wonder whether I'm buying it. Am I buying that he just had the epiphany that these Alabama players had changed and that college was changing? Has he not noticed a change in the kids over the 20 years he's been coaching or 30 years he's been coaching?
You know.
That's like asking a teacher whether or not they've noticed a difference in students from 1990 to 2020. Of course, it's completely different. Have you ever wondered why there's older coaches and why Popovich is such an outlier in the NBA and Kerr to a much lesser degree, Thibs to a much lesser degree, but the ability to change with the times or to relate to kids. Side note, Coke, I got a story for you. When Don Mattingly was our manager, Don Mattingly was a great player for the Yankees, a surefire Hall of Famer who did not make it because his career got cut short by back injuries.
Back injuries. Yeah.
And I remember when I interviewed him and we hired him and I was getting to know him. And as the years passed that I was with him, I would spend more and more time talking to him about relating to players. So the background of this, and this is not a look at me, Louis, but this is just a part of my life. I was lucky enough to know Red Halsman, the former coach of the Knicks. I was lucky enough that Ernie Grunfeld, the former GM of the Wizards and the Bucks, taught me how to shoot free throws. I was lucky enough to be around basketball. I was lucky enough as president of the Marlins to get to know Pat Riley, the president of the Heat. And one thing that we talked about often, that whole group, whether it was with Red Halsman when he was alive and then moving on to Pat Riley. Red Halsman was the coach for the 73 championship Knicks. Dave DeBusschere, Bill Bradley, Willis Reed, Clyde Frazier, Earl Monroe, Phil Jackson. ironically. Phil Jackson is another example of this. How do you come to grips when it used to be about respect? It used to be during the timeout, the coach was listened to. It used to be the coach commanded the room. It used to be the focus was solely on the court. It used to be you shared a room on the road while traveling commercially. And then somehow progress, quote unquote, didn't just come in the form of salary, it came in the form of benefits. And then it came in the form of distractions. And this isn't just for professional athletes, it's for students, it's for people in the workforce. This is a seminal change that's happening in the world, and either you can deal with the change or you can't. So I would sit with Red Holzman and he'd talk about the days of old and couldn't understand how players acted today and how selfishly they acted. Pat Riley and I would talk about members of the Miami Heat, members of the New York Knicks, and how if they had been playing under Red Holzman, they never would have been able to do the things they did or get away with the things they got away with. How Red Holzman would be turning over in his grave, an unfortunate metaphor, if he had to coach players like this. And so I've always been very thoughtful of the change of players, students, people, adults. And so Don Mattingly and I were talking about it one day, and I said, Don, how do you deal with players who are so selfish now, who don't care about the team winning? We could lose 100 games if they can get an extra
Gilbert
100 grand in
Arenas.
arbitration by hitting an extra home run and not caring if they strike out because they don't get a demerit for
Literally.
striking out in arbitration. How do you get them to move the runner over? And Mattingly looked at me and said, I don't. And I said, Don, but that's the way the game is supposed to be played. And I'll never forget this. He said, no, that's the way the game used to be played. It's a different game now. The players are different. Their goals are different. The way they act is different. And if you're asking me why I love being around them, why I love managing them, why he's still the top hitting coordinator for the Blue Jays right now, after the Marlins let him go to hire Skippy, he said, because every once in a while, I still reach one of the kids. I found that
That's
to
very
be
sentimental.
inspiring,
Very. Thank
almost teacher-like, when you know you're not going to get everyone in the class, but you get a player once in a while to do the right thing once in a while. So when you read about Nick Saban and the fact that he had to focus more on what the locker room looked like in Alabama, trying to compete the way Mark Cuban gave away game consoles to all of his players and said, we will have the most comfortable locker room ever. Nick Saban, why? Why does he have to put up with that? So he chose to walk away. And that makes him the rule, not the exception. The exception are the Popoviches and the Mattingleys who are able to adjust to life as is, kids as is, and still thrive in that scenario. Saban couldn't do it. Alabama's lucky, in fact, that he left. All right, before we go to break, do me
We're
this one
done.
favor to the audience out there listening or watching.
Now
What do you think?
the Kevin Garnett. Oh, what do I think about what?
With this?
Well, about what he's saying? Well, it's like yeah, it's like he mentioned ego. And like yeah, there's a certain like shock effect. Like oh, like he's like he's at a loss for words. He's like they're not just gonna jump because I tell them to jump. I gotta pay him now. I gotta treat him nice.
Oh, fuck.
I actually have to treat them like they're adults. I'm not their daddy no more. Literally. That's what Nick
Oh,
Saban
God.
said.
And the Madeline thing, that sounded just so Disney sentimental. But maybe he did say that. That's such a baseball thing to do. If I can reach one of them, it's worth it. It's like, okay, bud.
Good luck.
Yeah. What was the Kevin Garnett thing?
Kevin Garnett, I sent it to Yale, bro. Yeah, it's the The Marcus Cousins goes off on NCAA over NIL deals, and like so before you play, pause. So yeah, so it's like who's the Marcus Cousins like a top recruit? He has stories about John Calipari too, or like John Calipari. I won't go as far as to say he was like a dictator. But whatever, he's of the same mindset, probably in a different way where he's still, I guess he's able to relate, or he plays ball with the players.
He's like a players guy. Like perception wise, he's like a players coach.
Perception wise, yeah, but behind closed doors, he's kind of like a tyrant. To where this guy like DeMarcus Cousins is a big man that has ball handling skills. And he was telling a story where like they run a play and he's not like he's supposed to be the pick and roll guy. And he just has to he's trying to they want him to give the ball to John Wall and be like the robot. He's like, I'm not a robot. I'm not gonna just put the hit ball in the air and stand on the key and then pass it to the guard. Yeah. Like if I can make a move, I'm gonna make a move. And John Kelly Perry flipped out of him. Like, I don't ever want to see you handle the ball when we're running this play. Just fuck, dude. There's no free. And it's this guy's a really good ball handler, despite his size.
Yeah.
But as a side note, let's get into what he has to say.
Right, I gotta adjust volumes real quick. Hold on.
Yeah, it just shows that he was highly coveted, but at the end, it's still a struggle, even if you're a top recruit. Once you make the decision, and there's no more courting, there's no more fanfare, there's no more cameras. It's just you and the coach. It's a totally different world, a totally different beast you have to navigate through. And it could be very tough, especially if you get, God forbid, you get hurt.
Yeah.
God forbid you get hurt. Oh my God.
Yeah. But that's what he recruited him on the basis of I'll get you to the league. I'll get you here. I'll get you drafted here. Come to Kentucky, you'll get drafted here. You're good. Or Memphis back in the day.
At least basketball, it's one and done. Whereas like Nick Saban, you go play Nick Saban, that's your fucking daddy now, bro. You got you got to fucking do. You got to jump through every hoop, unfortunately. But now with the NIL, at least oh, you want to treat me all right, I'm gonna go over here. You ain't gonna punk me.
Exactly.
I ain't playing. Okay, I got to maximize my money. There's money on the literally. There's money on the line for me and my family. I may not make it to the league, but if I'm in above average collegiate player, and I'm sought after by people who want to pay me, I need to maximize that short window.
Yeah. And once again,
imagine a guy just somebody that was kind of good in college, then they leave college and it's not the same. Someone like Brady Quinn,
Notre Dame,
Jared Sullinger,
Ohio State, yep.
Matt Liner, yeah, these players yo, I'm a superstar in college. I'm Johnny fucking Manziel, dude. I'm a fucking rock star in college, but it's not promised in the next level that I'm gonna have these opportunities. So hell yeah, I should get whatever I should get paid whatever I can get paid now.
Yeah. And I'm gonna be honest, I said this before, most likely this is going to get abused by players. It will.
Yeah.
But
it will.
Do not let that be an excuse to go back to the old shit, bro, because the old shit is not nowhere near cutting it. Nowhere near. So abuse is gonna happen. Don't let somebody the new woke generation, Gen Zs, are coming in here to try to change everything, or change tradition up. Don't let those arguments fucking fool you, bro. These guys were treated fucking poorly. Yes, some are going to abuse it, but there's a fine balance we can find without going back to the old ways. Just saying. So, yeah, don't be fooled by some of these culture warrior dipshits that are probably going to be like, look at these players out of control.
And the balance should be, this is a partnership. This is not a dictatorship. You're not my Lord and Savior. We're in this together. I'm the player. You're the coach. You decide what to do and not take your lead. But it's not like I literally have to eat shit just to get on your good side.
Yes. All right.
Performance is performance, but it's like with you guys, it wasn't always about performance. It was also about subservience and a lot of humiliating things for the player, and just like common decency of resources, allocation of resources. Like I'm bringing billions. What's that dude named Shabazz Napier? When he was in Connecticut, where like this guy was over. He was He was like the hero of UConn that year. He got LeBron wanted the Heat to draft him. Like this guy was a known name, a known commodity, and he was complaining like, "Yeah, man, I can't even get a free meal. I can't. I don't even have money to pay for my lunch."
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like it's super fucked up.
Well, these guys they're campus celebrities essentially. Some of these guys at Syracuse that were kind of no names or St. John's. Like I'm saying, like kind of like my local shit. Like you see names that are like popular within those schools, but
Kevin Walker, yeah.
what are they? Like yeah, everyone knows their name to get high fives and shit. The best they can hope for is that there's some sort of booster that's gonna give them money under the table. Like that's the best you can hope for as one of these players back in the day, bro.
God forbid you get caught.
And if you get caught, you're fucked.
You're fucked. Reggie Bush. They took Reggie Bush's Heisman.
Yeah.
Like Reggie Bush. It was a performance enhancer that Reggie Bush got a new car from a booster. That made. That's a
See
it's
that?
a performance enhancer that disqualifies him from. Like the NCAA is full of shit, bro.
And then this bullshit. Like, imagine, remember, just before the NIL stuff, to where it was like kids just going to college for 1 year just to they're not even going to classes and shit like that. And it's like, to pretend that this whole situation of players not getting paid is all about education can kiss my, what it says right there, kiss my fucking ass. Bullshit, bro. Bull fucking shit. Not a fucking chance about education. It's business.
Well, in regards to the NFL, I mean the NBA, it was what was it Adam Silver? It was like what David Stern. They're the ones who just like you're allowed to become a pro after 1 year.
Yes.
I don't know what went into that decision, but I'm sure it's what you're talking about.
Let's be honest, the NCAA is all in that discussion. These guys didn't make that decision on their own.
They made it on their own. No, that's kind of what I mean. Like, they were influenced.
So let's be real. Was it about education, or was it about some sort of potential LeBron James showing up at your university? At least for a year, you can bank him for a fucking year. Whatever money he's going to generate in that 1 year, I'll take it. Was it about that, or was it about education? Bullshit.
Remember the fucking EA games, NCAA basketball, 2014, NCAA football, and it's like you're fucking and these schools are getting paid for likeness of the player, but the player itself gets nothing. And then that one player sued him, and they had to stop making the game. What was his name, Elgin Baylor or something? He sued them. He's like, "Yo, how the fuck am I in this game?" And I'm not. And he was like, "Well done. Like, how are you not paying these players?" But you're paying the university for the rights to the uniform to everything. That shit is crazy.
Real quick, before I'm gonna play this video just really quickly. I still have an emulator which I can play PlayStation 2 games, right? And I have NCAA 06 football.
Yeah.
Reggie Bush is on the cover. He's on the cover, right? But he's nameless number 5. When you play the game, it's number 5, Reggie Bush. It's number 11, Matt Leinart. These are actual people that they have their size, their skin tone, their weights, all that shit. They have all that their numbers, they have all that shit in there, but not their names because they're not allowed to have their names. But it's like, come on, we know who that is, and we know what's selling your fucking video game. Like, come on. Someone wants to be Reggie Bush and fucking do juke moves.
Yeah, it's not, what's his name? The athletic director. It's not the fucking athletic director selling the game. It's the players.
It's the players.
Yeah.
When you buy number 5 at USC in 2006 or 7 or whatever the fuck year it was, guess what? You're buying a Reggie Bush jersey. even though his name ain't on it. Like, come on. Like, let's not lie to ourselves, man. So, yeah, they were definitely making a shit ton of money off these guys. Guys, maybe they should be backlog paid. Fucking reparations for fucking college athletes that were their shit was used. All right. Nice boogie clip. There we go.
The NCAA can kiss my ass.
Bro, you following the NIL deals? Are you watching
Hell
some of this
yeah, I'm
shit?
seeing them. Hell yeah.
But does it save college?
How they treated these athletes, that sick. This ain't nothing but reparations, man. I don't give
Payback.
a fuck about that college.
Payback.
And this is no knock to Kentucky, because this is just the time we was in. We having tournaments in Cancun, Mexico. And there's 3,000 people with a Cousins in Kentucky shirt. But the vendor outside, he just made 60 bands with my name. But I get in trouble for a free meal.
Facts. Or a drink or anything.
Like what?
Anything.
And I can't get a free meal? Give a f about no college, I don't care about nothing. The NCAA.
He's got a point, man. He's got it's a strong point too. Now, what the opposers of this of Boogie talking like this, once again, they're gonna bring up like, well, look at this guy abusing it. Look at LeBron James having a Hummer when he's like 17, 18 years old. Shouldn't we be able to stop that? Because it's influencing kids and all that bullshit. But it's like, dude, this is so overwhelming. Like, these kids were fucking robbed. He's a grown man now, I'm just saying. Like, when he was younger, right? They're kids, and they're getting fucking robbed. 100%. 100 million fucking percent. They're getting robbed. For their likeness, for their marketability, the ability to draw a ticket, which is marketability, but like all these things are fucking money makers to the tune of billions, and they're not getting a fucking cent for it. Like, I never got mad at anyone taking money on the side from college players. It comes off as shady because of, you know, the potential for other things happening, like fucking point shaving and all that stuff. But for a kid who's just like, bro, I do all this and I don't get nothing out of it. The best thing I can hope for is the next level. And who is the key holder? Who is the gatekeeper of me in the next level? It's probably the coach. If the coach is like, you're not playing. Or the coach, Calipari was an NBA coach, by the way. With the Nets and all, like, I think other teams. Where he can go to scouts and be like, this kid ain't it, man.
Yeah, I sent you one more video to play for this.
Okay, it's dark, but that's a possibility. Imagine you're like that. You end up having to be subservient in some form or fashion to these coaches. Imagine Calipari kicks Boogie off the team. Like that's good.
Never mind, it's HBO. Never mind, it's HBO.
Oh.
You can't.
HBO. Yeah.
Never mind.
True Detective. They fucking. I still have a copyright notice for that, by the way. Copyright strike for like a couple seconds of HBO True Detective. But either way, it's kind of obvious, and people knew that. And then it's kind of like weed. Like, people knew weed was like not the worst thing ever. So eventually, it'll be illegal. Now, once again, I'll say it for the fifth fucking time. There will be abuses of this. It's just, do not let them use that as an argument to pull things back to that other shit. The shit that that Boogie's fucking talking about right now. Like, do not let them do that, because it is abusive, man. He was being nice to Kentucky, by the way. When it's like, I know you're probably saying that because you went there and you had fun, and you know that's like your fraternity, right? Kentucky basketball. But an outsider, like, let's actually look at this. Probably doesn't look so good as far as like what happened with what Calipari and Kentucky University and all that shit, and its use of players. And hey, guess what, Boogie? Let's say you didn't make it. Would you say something about Kentucky then? What if you had a major injury? But your recruitment there generated a shit ton of fucking views and attendance at games and national TV spots and on and so forth. Like, you are generating so much fucking money as one of these big recruit players. So, like, hey, what if you're not that? I
Might
don't
spill the beans. Yeah, he might spill the beans.
know. Maybe he would. Maybe. But all right. To me, it's an obvious answer, but I guess it'll be up to debate for future reference of like something like the Nick Saban thing. But whatever. Any final points you want to bring up, Anthony?
No, that's all. Yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. Nick Saban crying that the field's leveled.
Well, that's that. We didn't even we really go into that, the competitive side of this, where players can now like a little bit more freedom of choice. They can go to different schools, while still maintaining their big name, right? And also,
Yeah.
which would make these schools more competitive, as
They can
opposed
move
to
freely, yeah. As opposed to Nick Saban having a stranglehold on the SEC.
yes, yes. Like, good God, and
And
football's
by
so bad.
extension, yeah, by extension, the whole fucking country.
Now,
As far as
luckily, baseball's not as popular because I think they have the same rules as football, right? You got to stay like 3 years or some shit like that, right? 3 or 4
I'm not
years
sure.
before you can leave. If you do go to a college, you got to stay there for a while before you can go pro.
I think only the NBA is one and done.
Yeah, crazy. Oh, there you go. God damn, I love sports. Don't you just love sports?
Yeah, sure.
All right, there's our reaction to some of Nick Saban's comments and then Boogie Cousins.